Hello, everyone, and welcome to the Press Box. I'm Timmy,
And I'm Steven.
and we're here to answer the call. It is Wednesday. It is Hump Day. It is also October 30th. Holy crap! Tomorrow's Halloween, everybody. Halloween is tomorrow. You gonna do any trick or
Crazy.
treating?
No, I gotta work.
You gonna trick or treat at work? Do a little dress up?
Yeah, I'm gonna go. I'm gonna go as a chef and cook steaks for customers.
Oh my gosh! I mean, that's what you do on a daily.
Yeah.
We have a great show, guys. We have some news around the NFL that happened after yesterday's show. We're going to be talking a few college games. You know, I've been trying to go through this and see, get you guys ready for some of these college games outside of Ohio State, Penn State, on the noon kickoff. I've been digging into the old schedule here, and I came up with a few games that I think could be exciting. We also have the fantasy segment again. That was a big success last week. A lot of people, kind of reached out to us and said, "Hey, I really enjoyed that fantasy take. I enjoyed that fantasy segment y'all did. If you guys can continue doing that, so we're gonna do it again. Also, Steven, real quick before we dive into all this news that happened, I gotta know your words on your hot take from yesterday. You wasn't able to be here to defend your take, so I want to hear your take on your hot take.
What was my hot take? The Cleveland Browns were gonna beat the Chargers.
Yeah, that was your take, bud. That was your hot take of the week.
Yeah. So I think Cleveland finally has something going for it. They got Ken Dorsey calling plays. They got Jameis Winston at quarterback. Uh, they played well as a team. And beat a high-powered Ravens offense. Um, and this is not taking anything that the Chargers have done away. The Chargers aren't the Ravens. Justin Herbert isn't Lamar Jackson, and
Hmm,
J.K. Dobbins is not Derrick Henry. So I
that's
don't
fair.
feel like the Browns are going to have a hard time keeping up and with the Chargers. And the Chargers like to run the ball, so
Hmm,
you know
interesting.
we'll see how it goes. But if Cleveland plays even a smidge like they did last week, they got a good chance at beating the Chargers.
Wow, interesting. I I wasn't sure what you were going to say, so I kind of winged it a little bit, and I was like, I feel like he's going to say, well, Jameis Winston's the quarterback, and they're a better team with Winston than they have been all season, and this proves that Deshaun Watson is the problem. I was kind of on the same page a little bit, but I'm just
Yeah,
glad you verified and gave us your take on your hot take because I want everybody to really have your words and not just what I thought you were going to say.
yeah,
Um, so some big news in the NFL. Big news in the NFL yesterday. Stephon Diggs is out for the season, torn ACL. That is a big hit to this Texans offense. Nico Collins is still kind of nurturing an injury, so he's kind of been in and out of the lineup a little bit. Now Stephon Diggs is out for the season, and I'm just kind of wondering, well, what are the Texans moving forward now?
yeah. I don't know. Tank Dell's not playing well. Nico Collins has been banged up. Stephon Diggs out for the year. I mean, they don't have many more receivers. I think they got John Mechie, which hasn't played much. So they're going to have to go and make a move if they want to stay contending, I feel like.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, I know that they're in that AFC South. It's kind of wide open. But that's just it. It's kind of wide open. I mean, if the Texans aren't careful here now, a team like the Colts, they might come up and sneak up and steal it. It's basically a two team race at this point, though. I've all but
Yeah.
given up on the Titans and the Jags, but I mean, if the Jags did beat Philly this week and Texans lost to the Jets tomorrow, I don't know. Maybe the Jags would be right back there. So I think you're right, but I think they need to go get a wide receiver. Maybe go get some defensive help. Um, but I know that they're struggling in the red zone, so they definitely need to. If they're gonna go make a move for like a Mike Williams, a big bodied wide receiver.
Yeah.
They need to do something though, because teams are making. We're just a few days away. We're like what 6 days away from the trade deadline,
Yeah.
and teams are already starting to make moves. We saw Kansas City and go get DeAndre Hopkins and is it Josh
Josh Usi.
Usi?
Usi.
I want to say Uso for some reason.
Yeah, no, I do too. When I seen that, I was like, "Oh, damn! Jimmy and Jay got another brother."
But yeah, this isn't the WWE. But I did. I thought it was. I keep wanting to say Uso. So Usi.
Usi.
He's feeling very Usi.
Yep.
Well, so they went. They made those moves last week and earlier in the week. And other teams have been making moves. Ravens made a move yesterday, guys. Ravens are traded for Dante Johnson plus a sixth round pick in 2026 for a fifth round pick in 2026. Doesn't really make a whole lot of sense there, but
Yeah, the Panthers did what the Panthers do best and got fleeced.
I mean, I don't know. That's weird. That the Ravens were able to. I mean, and I know, fifth, sixth round picks, usually doesn't really amount to a lot. But I mean, the Ravens over the years have kind of found those hidden gems in those later rounds. So, in a couple of years, this could pay off for the Ravens. I want to talk about the immediate impact, though. Okay, on both teams. First of all, who's Bryce Young going to throw to, or Andy Dalton, whoever the quarterback is? Who are they going to throw to?
Adam Thielen.
Pass.
That's about it.
I mean, they got that rookie too legit to quit.
Xavier Leggett, but he really hasn't done much. I mean,
so they trade, and what's crazy is they just traded for Dante Johnson back in March. So
yeah, gave up like a third round pick for him too.
Yeah, third or fourth. Yeah, you're right. And so now they're sending him to Baltimore. And I feel like this is a move because the Ravens see the Bills and the Chiefs, see all these teams making wide receiver moves, and I feel like this was kind of a move for them. Like, hey, I'm gonna make a move too. Like, does this have any impact moving forward for the Ravens? Because they are a run heavy, run first team with Lamar and King Henry. Why add another wide receiver?
Yeah. I mean, you already had Zay Flowers, Rashid Shaheed.
No,
Rashad Bateman. Who's the Shaheed dude?
He's on the Saints.
Oh, I don't know why I always get those two confused. But I don't know. To me, it's just they made a move for the sake of making a move.
Like, oh, look at me.
Yeah. I just don't see it playing out.
I mean,
that well. I mean, and I could be wrong. That maybe they'll start passing more, but they're very much a run first team, and most of the targets go between Mark Andrews, Zay Flowers, and Isaiah Likely, and then Justice Hill out of the backfield.
Right.
So to me, they made a move for the sake of making a move, and it's just not smart. But I mean, you also only gave up a fifth round pick.
Well, that is true. But I don't know. Like, I feel like they need to go get some defensive people because they're struggling on the defensive side this year. More so struggling in the passing game. I would have liked to seen them go get like maybe another corner, or a safety, you know, like maybe go hit up the Titans for that Sneed, L'Jarius Sneed. But
Yeah.
I don't know. This is going to be interesting, and it's going to be really interesting from a fantasy perspective for, you know, Zay Flowers and Mark Andrews moving forward. So I don't know. Maybe this was a, hey, look at me. I can make a move just like everybody else, or I don't know. Maybe the Ravens got something a little up their sleeve. Maybe they're gonna use that as, you know, a decoy, and they're working another deal. We don't know. But the trade happened yesterday. That's actually not the only trade that happened yesterday. Vikings went out and got a left tackle. They went out and got Cam Robinson and a 2026 conditional 7th for a 2026 conditional 5th that can become a 4th based off playing time. You know, Christian Darrisaw, he's out for the season. Vikings realize, you know, in this NFC North, it is very wide open, very competitive. It's any team's race at this point. They realized that they had a weakness at tackle. They got a tackle. I like this move for the Vikings. But what does this say about the Jags now? I mean, we were just kind of talking about what if they beat the Eagles, but what does this move seem like it does for the Jags moving forward?
I mean, at this point, they need to be selling off some assets, regaining some picks, because they're not going to do anything this year.
Right, but
they're stuck with.
This is a 2026. I mean, it's not even for this upcoming draft.
I mean, I guess they sold him for what they could get for him. Cam Robinson ain't the greatest left tackle in the NFL. I mean, let's be real here. They got what they could for him, which is smart on the Jags' part.
Yeah.
Because their season is lost.
And he is a older tackle, if I'm
31 or 32, something like that.
I was gonna say he's already in his 30s, so that's already he's already, you know, up there in age. And I know, you know, like Trent Williams and Jason Peters, you know, are kind of defying that. But not all tackles play that long, so.
Yeah, not all tackles are Trent Williamson or Jason Peters. Goodness gracious, I'm having trouble with words.
Or that Andrew, was it Andrew Whitworth that played for the Bengals and the Rams?
Yeah.
I mean, not everybody could play till you're 40 at the tackle position, you know, because they get hit on every play, so. So a couple trades that happened, you know, in the NFL. We'll have to see. I like the Vikings trade. It definitely helps their team fill a void. The Ravens is kind of a head scratcher for, you know, like I said, I don't know what's going on behind the scenes at the Ravens. I wish I was a fly on the wall for that conversation, but I'm not. I'm sitting here in front of all of you. And we just got to assume that, John Harbaugh has something up his sleeve. So,
yeah, for sure.
We have a couple of college games. We got about 3 college games real quick that we'd like to talk about, and then we're going to get into the fantasy segment. And we're going to try to make that a good segment for you guys. First up is Minnesota versus Illinois. This is another Big Ten matchup that I'm excited for. You know, Minnesota has won 3 straight after back-to-back losses to Iowa and at Michigan. Illinois is coming off a brutal loss to Oregon last week. You know, I mean, that's Oregon. That's a whole different team. The Fighting Illini are home for this one, but could be on upset alert. Minnesota's favored by 3 on the road. Both quarterbacks seem to be having similar start through the year, and their stats are kind of similar. I think this one kind of comes down to who can run the ball or which defense creates the turnovers.
Yeah, you're right, 100% right.
Minnesota's kind of shocked me this year. I'm not gonna lie. The Golden Gophers.
Yeah, the Golden Gophers. I hate that name so much, and I don't know why. It's just like there's no creativity to it.
Well, I mean, their mascot's a
Well,
gopher.
don't they have a live mascot too?
Alive?
Yeah, like
I go,
isn't it? It's not like a guy in a costume. It's like a real like the buffalo or the Colorado Buffaloes have the buffalo,
and the Texas Longhorns have the longhorn. And,
yeah.
Hang on.
For some reason, I'm picturing
You keep
this
talking.
dude walking around with a gopher in his hand, like just parading it around. I don't know why. You mentioned the run game. Illinois is better. They have more rush yards per game at 144.5 to 108. This is a game I look for Illinois to win. They aren't. Minnesota's defense is sneaky good. They don't allow many points per game, 16.8. But like you said, it's going to come down to whoever runs the ball better, and I feel like Illinois is that team. I look for them to bounce back this week and pick up that win.
A costume character is what it says.
That's so disappointing.
Because I was like, no, the Minnesota Golden Gophers mascot, Goldie Gopher, is not a real person, but rather a costumed character.
Huh?
Yeah, I don't know. That's just what
That.
it kind of contradicted itself there, but
Yeah.
so I don't know. We'll have the game picks on tomorrow for the college side of it. This is just a little preview of these games. Like I said, you know, the Penn State Ohio State is on at noon, so a lot of people might be scrambling to try to find a good game. I talked about some yesterday. We're going over a few today. Next up is Virginia Tech versus Syracuse. Big ACC matchup. Both teams have had their ups and downs. Virginia Tech is 5-3. They have won 3 straight after a close loss against Miami. Many of you a few weeks ago, they had that nail biter, and was he inbound, out of bounds? Syracuse suffered a brutal loss against Pittsburgh last week. Before that, they won 3 straight. Though 2 of those wins were against lesser opponents. The wins were against Holy Cross. Don't even know who that is. And UNLV that went into overtime. So UNLV almost beat Syracuse. And then and a struggling NC State team. So those are the 3 games that Syracuse won in a row before the loss to Pitt last week. Virginia Tech likes to run the ball, and they have a bruiser of a back, Bashul Tootin. He has 12 touchdowns on the year, guys. So Virginia Tech will definitely be looking to try to run the ball and control that clock.
Yeah, I mean, you said it. Should be a good game, though. Either way.
Oh, it definitely should. It's at Syracuse, so that's what, up in New York, right?
Yes.
So, you know, Virginia Tech has to travel a little north, but I don't know. Like you said, this should be a good one. This one should be a good one. Uh-oh. We're getting closer to the fantasy segment. Sorry. I'm excited because we actually disagree on a couple of players.
Oh.
I didn't have time to change it. I'm sorry. So I'm rolling out my list as is. But my list does go against a couple of your players. So it'll be interesting.
Okay.
And it'll be interesting to see who was right. So.
Yeah.
Next up, though, is USC versus Washington. Big Ten matchup. But these two are very familiar from all the matchups when they were in the Pac-12. Both teams have struggled this season. Washington was in the national championship game last season. but this isn't the same Huskies, guys. Not the same team from last year. Washington has lost 2 straight road games after beating Michigan. You know, USC started out the season real strong. They were ranked 25th. They got a win against LSU in week 1. I thought this was the USC is a team. They beat LSU, and unfortunately, since then they've struggled. They faded out. They win some, they lose some. They are 4-4 on the season. They beat Rutgers last week after losing 3 straight. So they were on a 3-game losing streak, and they beat the Rutgers it wasn't even close, guys. So I don't know if that's what they needed to get back in the win column. I don't know what Washington needs to do. They're kind of, they're on a couple game losing streaks. So should be a good game. These teams are really familiar. It's in Washington, but real familiar from the Pac-12 days. So I'm excited for this one, even though both teams are kind of struggling.
Yeah. This should be a pretty decent game to watch. I really wish I didn't have to work.
Record it.
It's very yeah, I'm gonna have to, because it comes on at 6:30, so that's right in the middle of dinner rush. But
oh yeah.
So I couldn't even turn my phone on at work and watch it. But should be a good game.
I'm looking forward to it. In some of these matchups, like this one, the Virginia Tech Syracuse. Let's see, the Wisconsin Iowa that I talked about yesterday. Those are just kind of games, the teams haven't been performing as good this season, but matchup wise, it should be a very good one. I like, the Pitt SMU game. I think that one's going to be a good one. I talked about that one yesterday while you were gone.
Oh, really?
Yeah. I talked about that one. I talked about Ole Miss versus Arkansas. And, of course, I had to talk about Ohio State and Penn State.
Yep.
So, those are a couple of key games, guys, that could, kind of fill the void, because the primetime slate is kind of on the weaker side this week for some reason. Like I said, like I've been saying all week, I really think the Ohio State-Penn State should be a primetime matchup, but it's a noon kickoff. It's on Fox, so maybe it's like a Fox deal that, something that Fox has worked up. I don't know. But those are some of the games to kind of fill the void in case, you can't find a good game. Those are our games that we like this upcoming Saturday. Oh boy, oh boy. Oh boy. Oh boy, we got a fantasy segment coming up. Some interesting names on my list. What do you think? You got some interesting names?
I got a few, nothing too crazy, So
I'm not gonna lie. I obviously wasn't sure if I was going to be off in time before you got to work. So I didn't know if I was going to be doing this segment by myself or with you. So I went ahead and came up with 3 players I like, 3 players I don't like, and a boom or bust. So if you would like for me to start this week, I can. Seeing how I have more players.
Yeah, that's a lot of players, man. Go ahead.
All right. So first up on a player I like is Mr. Derek Carr. He's scheduled to return back this week. Just kind of monitoring, make sure though. But last I heard, he's expected to start. It's at Carolina. Look at what Bo Nix did to Carolina last week. I think the Saints won't have any problem putting up the points. And they really need to kind of get back in the win column, so expect Derek Carr to be targeting some players this week.
Didn't realize he was scheduled back.
I've heard reports. That he is expected to make his return. But like I said, monitor the situation. Now I will say, if Derek Carr is a no-go, I'm not a fan of Jake Haener. So I think that would be who started in place of Carr if he doesn't go. Um, you want me to do a player I don't like, or you want me to do another player I like?
Another player you like?
Okay. Okay. So another player I like is Mr. Sam Darnold. The Vikings know that they have to win this game. I expect versus, the Colts secondary is kind of up and downish, I feel like. I like Sam Darnold to have a pretty decent game this week.
Yeah.
All right. Go ahead
You just
or you want me to continue?
do all three of your likes, and then I'll do my likes, and then you do your dislikes, and I'll do my dislikes.
Okay, okay. My third quarterback that I like, this one this one is where we disagree. Quarterback I like is Mr. Bo Nix versus the Ravens. We talked about it earlier in the segment. The Ravens secondary is, they're not playing as good. They allow a lot of yards, so look for Bo Nix to have a game this week. I like Bo Nix here.
That's definitely an interesting take. We'll see what I have to say here in a little bit. So for my first quarterback, I like Joe Flacco. Coming back, he's going against the Vikings secondary that allowed Matthew Stafford to throw all over them. He should have a pretty good game, and he's had good games throughout his time as being the starter this season. So I look for the Colts to get right this week and Joe Flacco to have a good game.
Oh yeah, we forgot to talk about that. The Colts came out and said that they are benching Anthony Richardson. Holy crap! How did that slip through the cracks?
I thought you talked about it yesterday. I don't.
No, it happened actually right after the show ended yesterday. So.
Oh, okay.
I didn't get a chance to talk about it. I had it on today's notes, and I just forgot it.
Yep. The second player I really like is Kirk Cousins. Going against a Cowboys defense that has not done anything, giving up a ton of points. He's already a good quarterback fantasy-wise most weeks, so I look for him to have a really good game this week. He's got the weapons: Kyle Pitts, Drake London, Bijan Robinson. Should have a great game this week.
Oh, Mr. Kirk Cousins.
Kirko.
Oh, Kirko. And you just did 2, yeah?
Yeah, I did. That's all I have on my likes is 2. I went 2-1-1.
Okay. Players I don't like at the quarterback position this week, and a lot of people are gonna, say, you don't know what you're talking about. And maybe I do, maybe I don't. But I don't like C.J. Stroud tomorrow night. Stephon Diggs is hurt. Nico Collins is hurt. I look for the Jets defense to I don't know, something's got to give with the Jets. I talk about them every week, almost every segment. They've got to get it right at some point. I feel like it. I don't like Thursday night players in general. But with a quarterback who has kind of been struggling the last few weeks and going up against a defense on a short week without Stephon Diggs, maybe Nico's not playing. I don't know if he's going to have a great game. Maybe it may be a game that they win, but I don't look for him to light up the scoreboard. I think it's going to be more Joe Mixon probably. My next quarterback I don't like Trevor Lawrence at Philadelphia. Nope. I'm staying away from Trevor Lawrence. In fact, I'm almost convinced I probably am going to stay away from Trevor Lawrence the rest of the season. I'd have to see his matchups, but I don't like Trevor Lawrence here. I know Brian Thomas Jr. is banged up. Christian Kirk is out for the season. That Philly secondary is really good. They got some good corners. So
Yep.
I don't like Trevor Lawrence. And I know what you guys are thinking. I know what you're thinking on this one here. I had him in my didn't like last week, and he balled out. I don't like him this week, and that's Mr. Baker Mayfield. He's going to Kansas City, facing the Chiefs defense, facing Steve Spagnuolo's defensive guru mind, blitz scheming, you know what. In fact, I'm going to be 100% real with you guys. I don't really like a lot of Buck players this week. So I don't like Baker Mayfield at Kansas City this week.
Yeah, and I could agree with that.
It's going to be ugly. It's going to be ugly.
Yeah.
Baker Mayfield may pull an Anthony Richardson and tap himself out.
Yeah, I'm tired, Coach. Put in the backup. So my player I just like this week at the quarterback position is Bo Nix. Bo Nix beat a struggling Panthers team. Before that, he really didn't have that many great games.
I mean, he still hurt him.
Yeah, I agree. But the Ravens are not the Panthers. And as bad as that secondary is, it's still better than the Panthers. He's not going to have a good game this week. And that's just all there is to it. The Ravens will come up with some way to limit him. And really, all he has receiver-wise is Courtland Sutton. I mean, outside of that, I think their next best player is, I don't know, a rookie. I just don't look for him to have a good game this week.
Okay. So you don't like Bo Nix. Interesting. All right. So my running back that I like.
Are you going to do your boomer bust on quarterback?
Oh, yeah. I'm sorry. I actually had two boomer bust. I thought I only had one, but I did write down two. My first boomer bust quarterback is Mr. Jameis Winston. Jameis Winston came out last week against that Ravens secondary and had himself a game. He was eating them W's, all right? He was eating his W's, quoting Eminem, giving a church speech. I mean, it was all to feel good. He could have another good game against the Chargers. It would not surprise me. Or, Jesse Minter's defense could really lock down and actually show up to play and stop Jameis Winston. So, boomer bust for him. I had him in my last week. He's in my boomer bust this week. Mr. Dak Prescott.
Oh my goodness.
It's apparent that the Cowboys want to throw the ball. They're going to force feed CeeDee Lamb until they can't do it anymore. And even so, then Dak is still going to try to force it in there. That's why he's a boomer bust this week, because he's probably going to throw some picks. So, just kind of, owner beware. It is Dak Prescott after all. But they don't have a run game. All they do is pass. I really wish they had some kind of balance. I do have CeeDee Lamb, so I'm thankful that they force him the ball all the time. But it would be nice to see, them have a running game.
Yeah, for sure.
So that's my boomer bust, QB. Now your boomer bust.
I actually switched mine. Originally I was going to go with Rattler, and then you mentioned something about Derek Carr being back, and I'm like, So I'm going to go with Mr. Drake May, the Patriots. He should be back this week from that concussion.
He has a shot. I just got that news.
Yeah, the Titans are not a good defensive team. So I could very much see him throwing all over them, running all over them. I could also see it going the other way. There's some rust. He's not fully 100%, right. Whatever it may be. So he could very much end up in the bust section. I look for it to be somewhere in the middle, but I hope the kid balls out. He's a good quarterback. and it'd be nice to see when he actually has some weapons how he does.
Absolutely. I got to pause the segment for a minute, guys. I got to pause. Breaking news in the NFL. Colts head coach Shane Steichen said Joe Flacco will be our quarterback going forward, saying Joe gives us the best chance to win right now. Not giving up on Anthony Richardson, though. So, Anthony Richardson has been benched. So, go ahead and try to pick up Joe Flacco if he's available in your leagues. And you know, I mean, start him because Steven likes him this week. So, but that's breaking news. Just happened. It actually popped up as he was finishing his take on his boomer bust QB. So, sorry, I had to share with the class.
You're good.
ETN could return week 9. Interesting. Okay, running backs I like Alvin Kamara here. Much like last week, going against the Panthers defense, not going to have any issue. The Saints offensive linemen are starting to get healthy again. And as long as Kamara's hand is okay, look for him to have a game. So I really like Kamara here. Probably my start of the week.
Yep. Couldn't agree more.
Next up is Mr. DeAndre Swift. The Bears. Did I get that backwards? No,
DeAndre Swift plays for the Bears.
Right, and it's Bears Viking, or no, it's Bears Packers, right? Or no, or is it no? It's Lions Packers.
Yeah.
Okay, so I did get that wrong. I don't know who. They play Arizona. DeAndre Swift at Arizona. I got them mixed up in my notes here.
Yeah.
DeAndre Swift at Arizona. I like DeAndre Swift here. The Bears offense is really gelling. Early in the season, I actually traded DeAndre Swift, and now I'm regretting it because since then he has balled out. And now that the passing game is kind of taken off, he's an element in that. But also that passing game has also opened up a lot of run lanes for him. And I like Arizona. I like him at Arizona this week. So, those are my... Oh, I meant to say David Montgomery at... Oh, now I'm just confused. Bears don't play. And I don't even know who the Bears play now. Because it's...
The Bears play the Cardinals.
No, Lions play the Cardinals.
No, they don't. I'm looking at the schedule right now. Bears play the Cardinals.
Who does the
Lions? The Packers.
Oh my gosh, I got this all mixed up. I can't read my writing, guys. I can't read my writing today. I like David Montgomery versus the Packers, right?
Yes.
I like Alvin Kamara at Carolina, right? And I like DeAndre Swift at the Cardinals?
Yeah.
Okay. Oh, I see what I did. I wrote Arizona next to David Montgomery and Green Bay next to DeAndre Swift for some reason.
Oh, my goodness. Get your stuff together, Timmy.
Well, I mean, it's a Wednesday. It's a Wednesday. So those are my running backs I like.
So we're going to agree on one running back. Alvin Kamara should be able to have a great game against that Panthers D. My second running back is going to be Mr. Bijan Robinson. The Cowboys defense can't stop pass, can't stop run. He should be able to have a pretty solid game, run all over him, and really light it up this week.
Some interesting running backs. So I picked Alvin Kamara. He picked Alvin Kamara. That can only mean one thing, guys. Get Alvin Kamara in your lineups. Players I don't like at the running back position. I don't like Ramondre Stevenson. As bad as the Titans are, they're actually kind of good against the run. Kind of. Now, Sonic and Knuckles might have a different story, because the Lions just kind of ran all over them. But I don't like Ramondre Stevenson at the Titans. I don't know. Patriots have a lot of holes to fill. And I just think that, the Titans are going to try to be a little bit more physical up front. So I don't like Ramondre Stevenson. I also don't like Javonte Williams. I know he was in the like segment for Steven last week, but the Ravens secondary kind of allows a lot of passing yards. Well, one thing the Ravens don't do is allow a lot of rushing yards. I don't like Javonte Williams at Baltimore. And I said it a little bit earlier. I don't like Rachaad White here. Kansas City. Kansas City's really good. They've improved against the run. And, Josh Usi, Mr. Usi, feeling Usi, if he plays, that just helps that defensive line even more. And I don't like Rachaad White here. I look for, honestly, I look for the Chiefs to kind of do something a little uncharacteristic, and that's really bring the blitz often and early and often. Make Baker throw. I mean, but the Chiefs secondary, they're comfortable leaving Mr. Duffy on an island and letting him just play the best receiver that Tampa Bay has, which isn't anything. So I don't like Rachaad White here, guys.
Yeah, I'm going to take that a step further. I do not like any of the Bucks running backs against the Chiefs D. The Chiefs D is third in run defense. They're fifth overall in defense. So that speaks volumes to what Steve Spagnuolo has done. Like Tim said, I look for him to get the blitz going early, really make Baker uncomfortable, and it's just not a good week for Bucks running backs against that tough Chiefs defense.
So my boom or bust running backs, well, gonna kind of be a little bit of a shocker. First up is James Conner versus Chicago. If you remember last week, I said stay away from Washington's running backs, and they put up a combined 15 points. Now, I know James Conner is probably better than both of those running backs, but Chicago's run defense is still pretty darn good. I don't like James Conner here. I don't like. It's not that I don't like him because I'm probably going to have to start him in one of my leagues. But just temper expectations a little. He could go off for 15, or he could put up 6 or 7. So, my next one, this one is going. You're gonna get a kick out of this one. My boom or bust is Mr. Tony Pollard for the Titans.
Oh my goodness.
New England just traded Josh Usi away. So they're 100% in rebuild mode. Maybe the Titans can string together a few wins, and I don't know. Maybe they can take over the AFC South. But Tony Pollard could have a game. I mean, he had a decent outing last week. He could have another decent outing this week, or he could put up like 5 points. So, boom or bust is Tony Pollard.
So my boomer best is going to be Tank Bigsby of the Jaguars. Jaguars don't really have anybody to throw to. Philadelphia probably knows that. They're going to stack the box. If for some reason the Jaguars can get somebody open and start throwing the ball, Tank's a pretty decent running back. He should be able to run all over that Eagles D, pending them, having somebody to throw to. And outside of Evan Ingram, I don't think the Jags have anybody to throw to. Maybe Brian Thomas, but
so that's your boom or bust. I like it. I like it because that might set up interesting tight end. Who knows? Okay, wide receiver that I like this week is Mr. DJ Moore at Arizona. I like DJ Moore here. He is the clear number one. I think the Bears, after a tough loss against the Commanders, I think they come in and try to air it out a little bit and put up the points. And I would have to look to see, but I think he has a good matchup on the side that he plays on. So I like DJ Moore here. I also like Devonta Smith versus the Jags, guys. And he's kind of a boom or bust player overall, but I really like him this week. I don't think the Jags have anything that can contain AJ Brown and Devonta Smith the whole game. The Eagles, I don't know. Ever since Nick Sirianni shaved his head, the Eagles have been playing a whole different ball game. All right, so I like and the Jags are struggling, offensive, defense. So if the Eagles, put up, air it out real quick, look for Devonta Smith to maybe have a long touchdown catch. So my other wide receiver I like, and I'm going to kind of contradict myself here. I don't like Thursday night players, but I do like Garrett Wilson in this one. Devontae Adams seems to be more of a decoy. It's apparent that they seem to be focusing more on him than Garrett Wilson, which is a mistake. Garrett Wilson has had a really great season, and even in the 2 games with Devontae Adams, Garrett Wilson has still put up, double-digit points. So against the Texans, a struggling team overall, I like Garrett Wilson here.
Interesting, yeah. So my first player I like is Jamar Chase, going against the Raiders team that really doesn't scare anybody defensively wise. I look for him to get going early and have a really big game against that just atrocious Raiders defense.
I see a pattern here.
What?
You like stud running back, you like stud wide receiver. I'm just kidding, bud. I'm just kidding with you.
Okay.
I'm just playing, man. You like who you like. I mean, most people.
Yeah, I can't help that they're decent, at fantasy. Second wide receiver I really like, Chris Olave. He's kind of been up and down a little bit this year, but against that Panthers D, especially if Derek Carr comes back, he should have a really good game.
That's interesting. That's really interesting.
Yeah.
Because for the first wide receiver I don't like is Chris Olave. He has kind of been up and down. If Derek Carr comes back, obviously that does help him out a lot, but he is still going to be matched up against J.C. Horn. When he tends to go up against a better, great, good corner, his production tends to be a little lesser than what we really expect him to do. Also, this could get ugly real quick in a game where the Saints stop passing the ball and just try to, get out of there and not get banged up any more than they already are. So I don't like Chris Olave here. I'm going to go ahead and, last week he was in my like section. This week he's in the doghouse. All right. He's in my doghouse this week, and that is Mr. JSN, Jackson Smith and Jigba. I said he was going to have a good game last week against the Bills. It could be a shootout, and it wasn't. And he put up a stinker. Not really a stinker, but compared to what I really thought he was going to do, I don't like him this week. I'm not really sure who the Seahawks play. Why did I not write that down?
Seahawks play the Rams.
Oh, that's right. Yeah, that's why I don't like him. I don't like him this week against the Rams. I know the Rams defense have been struggling, but they've been getting it right the last couple of weeks. And I think the Rams are really starting to turn it around. And now the offense has Cooper Kupp and Puka Nacua back, so the Rams offense can control the ball a little bit more, keep that defense off the field. So I don't like JSN in this matchup. I also don't like Michael Pittman versus the Vikings. Well, obviously this was beef. I started making this list 100% before it was confirmed that Anthony Richardson was getting benched. I still don't like Michael Pittman. I don't care if Joe Flacco's the quarterback. I just think the Vikings, secondary is going to try to take away that passing game. And maybe make them try to run the ball a little bit. So I don't like Michael Pittman here.
Yeah, that's valid. I don't like Cortland Sutton. Broncos are going against the Ravens D. I look for, the Ravens to kind of control the pace of the game with the run, but also wear down that Broncos D, allowing, and then, Bo Nix not being on the field much. I don't see Cortland Sutton having a good game. And he also, he's very up and down. Some weeks he has good games, some weeks not so much.
Interesting. I like that. It's an interesting take. Was that your second one?
I just have one on the dislike.
Okay, so my boom or bust wide receivers is Mr. Jaden Reed versus Detroit. So in this Packers offense, we never know what receiver is going to get the ball. 1 week, it's going to be Christian Watson. 1 week, it's going to be Jaden Reed. Here lately, it's kind of been Romeo Doubs ever since the, what happened a few weeks ago. He does, it now we don't know if Jordan Love is going to play. So that kind of hinders his value just a little bit in this game. It's going to be a physical game between division rivals, for the NFC North. If Jordan Love plays, I look for him to kind of maybe be more on that boom side. If not, he could be a bust this week. My second wide receiver boom or bust we just talked about is Mr. Cortland Sutton. He is very up and down every week. Some matchups where you expect him to go off, he doesn't. And some matchups that you think that he should be a bust, he kind of goes off. He's going against the Ravens secondary. They're not as good at passing the ball, but like Steven said, the Ravens offense could try to run the ball, control the clock, keep the Broncos offense off the field. He also mentioned, they don't have a whole lot of targets, so they know that if they shut down Cortland Sutton, they probably have a good chance of shutting down that Broncos passing. So he could be a boom or a bust. If I had to guess, I would say he would be maybe a solid, a decent. He'll be a decent flex option if you're just really needing somebody, which, this week there's only 2 teams on a bye. So you shouldn't need that you shouldn't be in that dire need of a wide receiver, but just kind of, if you start him, don't expect him to have a great game, but just, take it with a grain of salt.
Yep, that's fair. So my boomer bust is going to be Mr. Deontay Johnson for the Ravens. We're going to find out how serious the Ravens were about trading and what his usage will be with this game. He should play, a couple snaps here and there. It's not going to be a big workload, but if Lamar Jackson looks his way on passing downs early, he could have a very big game. If not, then he's probably going to be closer to that bust side, and we'll just have to see how that one plays out.
Interesting. Obviously, you did yours probably after the trade happened, right?
Yeah, I did mine late last night.
Mm-hmm. Okay, so my first tight end that I like this week, I can't believe I'm about to say this. It doesn't even feel right, guys. It doesn't feel right. Jake Ferguson, tight end for the Cowboys.
Okay.
They're going against the Falcons last week. Look what Kate Otten did. So that tells me that maybe that Falcons defense allows a lot of points to tight ends. Maybe they try to shut down CD, which is almost impossible, but maybe Jake Ferguson gets involved in the passing game too. So I like Jake Ferguson here. My next tight end I like is Evan Ingram. Evan Ingram is going against the Eagles. They don't have a lot of weapons to throw to. So they're going to have to get somebody. He's a nice big body in the red zone. So maybe he gets a touchdown and a couple catches for 30, 40 yards. Decent game. My next tight end, I'm rolling out the red carpet for this guy once again, Mr. Kyle Pitts. I don't know what's going on. I'm very happy. Obviously last week he was on my bench as I talked about on Monday. But the Falcons have finally realized that Kyle Pitts can catch the ball, guys. He can catch. Holy crap. They finally realized it. I like him, in that same game against the Cowboys. And ironically, this could be a shootout because the Cowboys defense has been banged up and, the Falcons defense is kind of up and down. So this could be a shootout. This could be a game where, Kyle Pitts, maybe has a pretty similar game. I don't know. We don't know.
Interesting. So my first tight end I like is Trey McBride going against Bears defense that's been good but not great. He went off last week, had a really good game. I look for him to continue that streak this week. My second tight end I like is Mr. Brock Bowers against the Bengals. He's quietly had a good season. Didn't do much last week against Kansas City outside the first quarter. He's really, I feel like, the best weapon that the Raiders have to throw to. So look for them to get him going early, and he should have a pretty decent game.
Who was your second one?
Brock Bowers.
Brock Bowers.
The rookie tight end for Raiders.
Okay, my first tight end I don't like. Mark Andrews. I don't like Mark Andrews this week. Run heavy team. They just got Dante Johnson. We don't know how involved he's going to be. So I don't like Mark Andrews in this situation. And, Isaiah Likely has, emerged as another pass catching option. So I don't like Mark Andrews. He was in my dislike last week. He stays there this week. Not a big fan of Cole Kmet. There's a lot of mouths to feed. And they're going up against Arizona. I don't know. I don't like Cole Kmet here. I just think that, he'll have decent game for a tight end, but there might be better options than Cole Kmet this week. I also
100%.
don't like Dalton Kincaid versus the Dolphins this week. I don't know. I think it's going to be a James Cook kind of show. James Cook, I think they're going to try to get Amari Cooper going. I think Keon Coleman's starting to emerge. So I don't like Dalton Kincaid this week.
Yeah, that's fair. The tight end I don't like is Mr. Noah Fant going against the Rams. It's just I don't feel like he's going to have a good game. The Rams defense is not great. They're good. They're good. I know the record kind of doesn't reflect that. But he really hasn't done much this season outside of a couple big plays. It's just somebody I'm staying away from this week.
I can see that. Yeah, Noah Fant. And they have two-headed monster at running back, and they have two decent receivers. So, yeah, I could easily see where Noah Fant is a lost in that shuffle. Okay, I have two boom or bust tight ends. First up is Zach Ertz. I didn't like him last week. He put up 14. This week, the Commanders play the Giants. So, I don't know. He could easily have a fantastic game, or the Giants shut him down. I'm not really sure how the Giants do versus tight ends this year, but I know overall the team has kind of done bad. So, I like him in that 10 to 13 point range. Me personally, I think he could put up those. So, and I mean, that'd be a solid flex if you already have a decent tight end. And maybe you need help at the wide receiver or running back. So in your flex, he could be a good flex option. My other boomer bust is Mr. TJ Hawkinson. He's coming back from injury. We don't know how much the Vikings will use him against the Colts this week. So if he's the TJ of old, he's going to put up the points. If he, kind of stumbles, he might be a bust this week. So it's kind of, I know people are excited. He's finally back. People probably drafted him in hopes that, he makes it back in time for the fantasy playoffs. Just this week kind of temper those expectations a bit because we don't know the usage this week. So,
yeah. So my boom or bust is going to be Mr. Sam Laporta of the Lions going against that Packers D. This isn't so much reflection of his ability because he's a good tight end. This is more of a reflection of if Jordan Love doesn't play, I look for the Lions to run the ball, control the clock, and get up early and stay up.
They might let Sam Laporta throw the ball this week. We don't know.
Yeah, maybe. With that being said, that's what makes him a bust. If Jordan Love does play, I look for this to kind of be closer to a shootout. And Sam Laporta is an excellent tight end, especially in the red zone. So it could go either way.
Indeed it could. Well, guys, that is our fantasy segment. A lot of good names on there, a lot of interesting names. And it was interesting, that we kind of disagreed on a couple of players. I like that. We'll have to see who was right come Monday. So, guys, I think we're out of time for today. I can't thank you guys enough. Thank you for tuning in. We thank you whether it's your first time or you're a returning viewer. We could not do this without you. Hit that follow button. Share it with your friends. Help us grow. And we'll continue to answer the call. You guys have a great day.